Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Wisdom channel. Tonight, we'll be exploring Hinduism, one of the world's most ancient and fascinating wisdom traditions. This is a story that does not begin with one founder, one book, or one simple answer. It opens into a vast conversation about the self, the universe, and the mystery behind both. Hindu thought asks what we truly are beneath habit and fear. It teaches that action matters, that duty can be sacred, and that freedom begins when the mind learns not to cling. It also gives us stories where gods walk among humans, where devotion becomes a path, and where a single moment of insight can change an entire life. Tonight's journey is not about memorizing beliefs. It is about entering a way of seeing that has guided seekers for thousands of years. Some ideas may feel familiar, others may feel startling. Each one invites us to look again at life with steadier eyes. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is settle in. Let your shoulders relax and notice your eyes grow heavy. And as the day begins to gently fade away, join me as we explore this ancient path of wisdom together. Let's begin. Hinduism sees the universe as endlessly born, dissolved, and born again. In many traditions, time moves like a road with a beginning and an end. Hindu thought often imagines something far stranger. Creation is not a single event locked in the past. It is a rhythm. Worlds arise, endure, fade, and return through vast cycles that make ordinary history feel almost impossibly small. This idea gives existence a different emotional weight. Nothing is merely random debris in a dead machine. Everything belongs to a movement too large for the human mind to hold at once. Some people hear this and immediately think of modern theories about expanding universes, collapsing stars, or realities beyond our own. Hindu tradition does not need those comparisons to be fascinating. It already offers a stunning claim. The cosmos is not a finished object. It is a process. To live inside it is to live inside a repeating mystery, where endings may be transformations and beginnings may be older than they appear. Ancient Hindu thinkers explored consciousness before modern science could name it. Long before brain scans and laboratory models, sages were asking a question that still unsettles serious thinkers today. What is awareness? Not what we think about, and not what we feel, but the bare fact that experience is happening at all. The early Hindu world developed practices for turning attention inward with remarkable seriousness. These were not casual reflections made beside a fire. They were disciplined investigations of perception, memory, identity, and silence. Some modern readers are startled by how direct these inquiries feel. They do not treat the mind as a simple box filled with thoughts. They treat it as a field that can be trained, refined, and finally seen through. For anyone drawn to hidden knowledge, this is gripping because the laboratory is the person listening right now. The experiment is attention itself. The question is not distant. It is immediate. Who is the witness of every thought you have ever had? The Vedas are among humanity's oldest surviving sacred compositions. Imagine words carried across generations with such care that sound itself became a vessel of memory. That is part of what makes the Vedas so extraordinary. They were preserved through oral traditions of astonishing discipline, where rhythm, accent, and pronunciation mattered with sacred intensity. Long before printing presses, these compositions survived through human voices trained to remember them with near impossible accuracy. The result is not just a collection of ancient religious material. It is a living record of how people once listened to the universe. The hymns speak to fire, dawn, storm, order, sacrifice, longing, and unseen power. Some people look at their age and wonder what else may be hidden in them. Are they only devotional works, or do they preserve older memories of sky watching, ritual technology, and vanished ways of understanding nature? Whatever view you take, their survival is breathtaking. A human voice spoke them ages ago, and their echo has not disappeared. Karma means every action leaves an imprint on the soul. In ordinary speech, karma is often reduced to luck, revenge, or a neat little payback story. In Hindu thought, the idea is much deeper and more demanding. It says that action does not vanish when the moment passes. Choices shape character. Intentions bend the inner life. Habits become grooves that guide what we notice, desire, fear, and become. This makes every ordinary moment more important than it first appears. A word spoken in anger, a kindness offered without applause, a duty avoided, a truth protected at cost. All of it matters. For a speculative mind, karma also opens an enormous possibility. What if reality has a moral memory? What if the universe is not watching like a judge, but responding like a field that records movement? This idea can feel almost unsettling because it gives hidden significance to the smallest act. Nothing has to be dramatic to be powerful. The soul is shaped by repetition. Dharma teaches that right living depends on time, place, and duty. Many moral systems want clean answers that work everywhere. Hindu thought often gives something more subtle. It asks what is appropriate here, now, for this person, in this situation. That can make Dharma difficult, but it also makes it incredibly human. A ruler, a parent, a student, a healer, and a renunciant may not face the same responsibility. The right action is not always the most obvious action. It may require courage, restraint, patience, or sacrifice. This is why Hindu epics are so rich. They do not simply hand us perfect people making easy choices. They show noble figures caught inside pressure, loyalty, confusion, and consequence. For anyone who distrusts simple explanations, Dharma is fascinating because it refuses to flatten life. It treats existence like a moral puzzle with moving parts. The question becomes sharper than being good in the abstract. What does this moment ask of you? And what are you willing to become by answering? Hindus can worship one god through countless divine forms. To an outsider, Hinduism can look like a vast universe of gods. Yet many Hindu traditions understand these forms as openings into one ultimate reality. This does not make the images less meaningful. It makes them more layered. A devotee may turn to Shiva, Vishnu, Devi, Ganesha, or another form, while still accepting that the divine cannot be trapped by any single name. This is one reason Hindu worship can feel so expansive. It does not always demand that mystery shrink itself into one approved shape. It allows relationship. The divine may be approached as mother, teacher, friend, protector, beloved, or cosmic source. Some people find this startling because it turns devotion into a kind of sacred personalization. The form matters because the heart needs a doorway. The mystery remains greater than the doorway. This creates a religion where unity and multiplicity do not have to destroy each other. They can exist together in living tension. The Upanishads ask whether the self is secretly infinite. Few spiritual questions are more daring than this one. The Upanishads do not merely ask how to behave or which ritual to perform. They ask what you are at the deepest level. The answer they explore is astonishing. Beneath the changing body, shifting thoughts, memories, fears, and social identity, There may be a self that is not small at all. It may be connected to the deepest reality there is. This is not presented as a slogan. It is approached through teaching, inquiry, meditation, and sharp conversations between seekers and masters. For a late-night mind, the idea is almost explosive. What if the ordinary sense of being a separate person is only the surface layer? What if consciousness is not something produced only inside the individual, but a clue to something boundless? Whether one accepts the teaching literally or not, its force is undeniable. It turns self-knowledge into the most radical adventure imaginable. Yoga began as a disciplined path toward inner freedom. Today, many people meet yoga through stretching, posture, or wellness culture. Its older purpose goes much further. In Hindu traditions, yoga can mean a serious method for training the body, senses, mind, breath, and attention, so the person is no longer ruled by inner chaos. It is not about looking peaceful. It is about becoming free from compulsions that usually pass for personality. The classic yogic path treats the mind as powerful but unstable. It can chase desire, invent fear, and mistake noise for truth. Discipline is the way to recover command. This is why yoga is so fascinating beneath the modern image. It suggests that human beings contain untapped capacities that remain hidden because attention is scattered. Some people compare ancient yogis to inner explorers, testing consciousness from the inside with the seriousness of a science. The real discovery is not a pose. It is the possibility that freedom can be practiced. The Bhagavad Gita turns a battlefield into a school of wisdom. The setting is dramatic because the teaching begins at the worst possible moment. Arjuna is not sitting calmly in a quiet retreat. He is frozen before war, torn between duty and grief. This makes the text feel urgent, even today. Wisdom arrives when life has become unbearable. Krishna does not offer easy comfort. He opens a vision of action, self-mastery, devotion, duty, and reality that has shaped millions of lives. The strange power of the Gita is that it does not remove Arjuna from the world. It teaches him how to act within it without being inwardly consumed. For people who enjoy hidden meanings, this scene is endlessly suggestive. A battlefield becomes the human mind. The opposing armies become forces inside us. The chariot becomes the place where fear meets guidance. Whether read devotionally, philosophically, or psychologically, the moment grips the imagination. The crisis is ancient, but the question is painfully modern. How should we act when clarity disappears? Moksha is liberation from the deepest cycle of becoming. Most people imagine freedom as getting what they want. Hindu thought pushes further. It asks whether desire itself can become a chain. Moksha points to release from the cycle of birth, death, craving, consequence, and repeated becoming. This is not ordinary escape. It is the end of being driven by ignorance about what we really are. The idea is powerful because it shifts the goal of life away from endless accumulation. Wealth, status, pleasure, and even achievement may have a place, but none of them finally solve the deepest restlessness. Something in the human being keeps reaching, fearing, repeating, and identifying with what cannot last. Moksha says there is a freedom beyond that pattern. Some people hear this as mystical. Others hear it as psychologically precise. Either way, the teaching cuts close. It asks whether we are trying to decorate a cage instead of discovering the door. The question remains calm, but it is devastating. Hinduism has no single founder, yet it has shaped billions. Most major religions are closely associated with a founding person. Hinduism is different. It grew through countless teachers, communities, rituals, debates, songs, scriptures, and regional traditions over immense stretches of time. That makes it harder to define in one sentence, but also far more fascinating. It is less like a single building and more like an ancient city that never stopped being lived in. Layers were added. Older forms remained. New devotional movements appeared. Philosophers disagreed. Local deities entered wider sacred stories. Practices traveled, adapted, and endured. This gives Hinduism an unusual kind of resilience. It does not depend on one historical moment for its entire authority. Some people find this almost mysterious, as if the tradition behaves more like an ecosystem than an institution. It can hold argument without collapsing. It can preserve the old while absorbing the new. Its vastness is not a flaw. It is part of its identity. Sanskrit preserved sacred sound with astonishing precision for centuries. There are ancient languages that survive in inscriptions, and then there is Sanskrit. In the Hindu world, it became a language of scripture, philosophy, ritual, grammar, poetry, and refined thought. What makes its preservation especially striking is the attention given to sound. Sacred texts were not treated as loose messages that could be paraphrased casually. Their exact pronunciation carried weight. Teachers developed intricate methods of recitation that helped protect the order of words and syllables across generations. This can feel almost unbelievable to a modern listener used to digital storage. Human memory became the archive. The trained voice became the library. Some people hear about these methods and wonder whether sound itself was being treated as a kind of subtle technology. A mantra was not only meaningful because of definition. It was meaningful because vibration, attention, and intention worked together. Sanskrit therefore became more than a language of the past. It became a disciplined way of carrying presence. The Rig Veda contains hymns older than most world religions. There is something humbling about hearing that human beings were already composing sacred verse in such remote antiquity. The Rig Veda reaches back to a world before many familiar religious institutions had appeared. Its hymns belong to people who watched dawn, storm, flame, offering, and cosmic order with intense seriousness. They did not see nature as dead scenery. They encountered it as charged with intelligence, power, and meaning. This is one reason the text continues to fascinate scholars, seekers, and alternative thinkers alike. It feels like a window into an early layer of human consciousness. The voices in it are not primitive in the simple sense. They are observant, ceremonial, imaginative, and philosophically alive. Some passages ask where creation came from with a boldness that still feels modern. Others praise divine powers as if the universe itself were answering back. To explore it is to enter an ancient mind that was already asking enormous questions. Fire rituals made offering feel like conversation with the cosmos. In Vedic religion, fire was not just heat and light. It was the living center of ritual exchange. Offerings were placed into the flames with care, and the act was understood as a way of connecting human intention with divine powers. This gives the ritual an extraordinary logic. The visible world and unseen world were not sealed apart. They could meet through correct action, sound, material, and attention. Imagine a community gathered around a sacred flame, believing that smoke, chant, and offering were part of a cosmic communication system. That idea is gripping even before we decide how literally to take it. Some people see in these rituals an ancient understanding of transformation. Grain becomes smoke. Butter becomes brightness. Intention becomes an act. The ordinary is converted into something that travels beyond ordinary reach. At the heart of it is a simple but powerful intuition. Human beings are not isolated from the universe. they can answer it. Agni became the divine messenger between humans and gods. In the Vedic imagination, fire had a personality and a task. Agni carried offerings from the human realm to the divine realm, which made every ritual flame feel like a point of contact. This is a remarkable idea because it gives a natural force a sacred role without making it merely symbolic. Fire consumes, transforms, illuminates, and rises. Those qualities made it the perfect messenger. What humans placed into it did not simply vanish. It was entrusted to a power that could cross boundaries. For anyone interested in hidden patterns, Agni is fascinating because he sits between worlds. He belongs in the hearth, the altar, the lightning flash, and the sun. He is near enough to be tended by hand, yet vast enough to connect with cosmic order. This double nature explains his importance. When people honored Agni, they were honoring the principle that transformation can become communication. The flame was not silent. It was carrying meaning upward. Soma was both a sacred drink and a mysterious power. Few elements of Vedic tradition provoke more curiosity than Soma. It appears as a pressed ritual substance, a divine presence, and a source of exhilaration or insight. Its exact identity has been debated for generations, and that uncertainty only deepens its fascination. Some people have proposed plants, mushrooms, or lost ritual preparations. Others focus less on chemistry and more on sacred experience. What matters for the tradition is that Soma was not treated as an ordinary beverage. It was associated with vitality, inspiration, and contact with divine forces. The hymns around it can feel charged with intensity, as if the ritual opened a doorway in consciousness. This has made Soma irresistible to anyone drawn to ancient mysteries. Was it a plant secret, a visionary sacrament, a symbolic power, or some mixture of all three? The honest answer remains contested. Yet the mystery itself tells us something. Early Hindu religion preserved the memory of a substance that seemed to change the human encounter with the sacred. Indra once stood at the center of Vedic imagination. Before later Hindu devotion placed other deities at the forefront, Indra held immense importance in the Vedic world. He appears as a powerful figure linked with storm, strength, victory, and the release of waters. His most famous deed is the defeat of Vritra, a blocking force often associated with drought or cosmic obstruction. The story is thrilling because it can be read on several levels. On the surface, it is a divine battle. In a natural reading, it evokes storm breaking the hold of dryness. In a psychological reading, it becomes courage, overcoming inner paralysis. This layered quality helps explain why ancient myth remains alive. It can speak to weather, society, ritual, and the private human struggle at the same time. Some people are surprised to learn how central Indra once was, because modern popular Hinduism often emphasizes other gods. His prominence reminds us that Hindu tradition has never been frozen. Its sacred imagination has moved through history. Varuna watched over cosmic order before later devotional traditions rose. Varuna is one of the most intriguing Vedic deities because his power is not only physical. He is connected with moral order, vastness, oath, and the binding force that holds truth in place. This makes him feel different from a simple nature god. He is watching the structure beneath behavior. In early hymns, he can seem majestic and almost unsettling, aware of hidden wrongs and guardian of a law larger than human preference. That makes his presence fascinating for anyone interested in ancient ideas of surveillance, conscience, and unseen justice. The Vedic world did not imagine morality as a private opinion floating inside the mind. It could be woven into the fabric of existence. Varuna's decline in later popular prominence also tells a larger story. Hinduism did not erase its older layers, but it often reconfigured them. Some figures moved to the edge while others became central. The tradition changed, yet memory remained embedded in its sacred texts. RTA described the hidden order that keeps existence coherent. Before the word dharma became so famous, Vedic thought spoke of RTA. It referred to order, truth, regularity, and the right arrangement of things. The sun rises. Seasons return. Rituals must be performed correctly. Speech must align with truth. These were not separate concerns. They belonged to a single sense that reality has a pattern, and life becomes meaningful when humans move with that pattern rather than against it. This is a profound idea because it joins the cosmic and the ethical. The universe is not merely out there, while morality is merely in here. Both participate in order. Some people find this electrifying because it resembles the search for hidden laws behind visible events. The ancients were not only asking what happens, they were asking what makes happening trustworthy. RTA gives a name to that confidence. It is the feeling that existence is intelligible and that disorder begins when we forget our place within the whole. Brahman points to reality beyond every limited name and form. Hindu philosophy eventually reaches a point where ordinary language begins to fail. Brahman is one of the great words used for that ultimate reality. It is not simply a god among other gods, or an object somewhere inside the universe. It is the ground of existence itself, the depth from which all forms arise and upon which all forms depend. This is why the idea is so powerful. It stretches thought beyond images, stories, and categories. A person may approach the divine through a chosen form, but Brahman points to what cannot be fully captured by any form at all. For those who enjoy the edges of knowledge, this is deeply compelling. It suggests that reality has a hidden depth that thought can indicate but never possess. The mind can name many things, yet the source of all naming remains beyond its grip. That does not make the idea empty. It makes it immense. The mystery is not absence. It is overflowing presence. Atman suggests the deepest self is not merely personal. This idea changes the whole conversation about identity. Most of us think of the self as a bundle of memories, preferences, wounds, habits, and opinions. Hindu philosophy asks us to look underneath all of that. What remains when the body changes, when moods shift, when names and roles fall away? The answer is not a personality with better decorations. It is a witnessing presence that cannot be reduced to biography. This is why the teaching feels so radical. It suggests that the ordinary Mia may be only the surface expression of something far older, steadier, and stranger. Some people hear this and wonder whether consciousness is not trapped inside the skull in the way we usually imagine. The teaching does not ask us to believe a theory from a distance. It asks us to investigate the one thing we can never step outside. Every thought appears to someone. Every fear is noticed. The mystery is the one who notices. Tat Tivam Asi declares a shocking unity between self and ultimate reality. The phrase is often translated as Vatar Pao, and it comes with the force of a spiritual detonation. It does not simply say that human beings are loved by the divine. It says the deepest reality and the deepest self are not finally separate. That is why the statement has fascinated philosophers, mystics, and restless seekers for centuries. It challenges the usual feeling that we are small creatures trapped inside an enormous outside world. Instead, it suggests that the boundary between the knower and the known may be less solid than it appears. Some listeners find this almost impossible to take in. Yet that is the point. The teaching is meant to break the ordinary frame. It turns self-inquiry into cosmic inquiry. To ask who you are becomes another way of asking what reality is. The phrase does not flatter the ego. It dissolves it. The self being named is not the anxious little self. It is the depth behind it. Maya teaches that ordinary perception can hide deeper truth. This teaching is often misunderstood as saying the world is fake. The richer idea is more unsettling. It suggests that our everyday way of seeing is incomplete, conditioned, and easily deceived. We mistake passing forms for permanent realities. We cling to labels as if names could capture the whole of life. We see difference everywhere and miss the unity that may stand behind it. That makes Maya one of Hinduism's most fascinating ideas for modern minds. It feels close to questions raised by dreams, virtual worlds, optical illusions, and the strange limits of perception. Some people take it even further and wonder whether ordinary experience is more like a filtered projection than an open window. Hindu thought does not need to become science fiction to be gripping here. It simply asks us to notice how much we assume without proof. The world may be real, yet not understood correctly. The trap is not existence. The trap is misreading what we see. Samsara describes existence as a repeating cycle of birth and death. This is one of the most haunting ideas in Hindu thought because it stretches life beyond one visible span. Instead of seeing a single lifetime as the whole story, it places each life within a vast wheel of becoming. Birth leads to experience. Experience leads to desire, action, and consequence. Death does not end the pattern. It becomes a passage into further embodiment. This gives human choices a scale that can feel almost dizzying. A brief decision may belong to a much longer moral journey. A fear may not be as new as it seems. A longing may have roots deeper than memory. Some people are drawn to this idea because it hints at hidden continuity beneath the surface of ordinary life. Why are we born with certain tendencies? Why do some places or people feel strangely familiar? Hindu traditions answer in different ways, but the cycle itself remains powerful. It turns existence into a mystery with unfinished chapters. Reincarnation gives moral weight to more than one lifetime. The idea is not only that a person lives again. The more demanding claim is that life carries unfinished momentum forward. Actions, intentions, and inner patterns do not simply disappear when the body falls away. They continue to shape future experience. This makes reincarnation more than a curious belief about past lives. It becomes a moral architecture. A person is not randomly dropped into existence without context. There is a hidden history behind tendencies, opportunities, burdens, and gifts. Some people love the speculative side of this. They wonder whether déjà vu, unusual talents, sudden fears, or powerful attachments might be echoes of something older. Hindu traditions are usually more careful than that, but the question remains irresistible. Reincarnation also changes how we see strangers. The person beside us may be at a different point in a long journey, not a separate fragment with no connection to us. Compassion becomes easier when every life is part of a wider unfolding. Ahimsa makes non-violence a spiritual discipline, not mere politeness. At its deepest level, non-violence is not passive softness. It is the training of body, speech, and intention away from harm. This takes far more strength than it first appears. It is easy to avoid obvious cruelty when nothing is being demanded from us. It is harder to restrain the sharp word, the careless appetite, the casual contempt, or the hidden wish to dominate. Hindu traditions place ahimsa within a larger vision of life as interconnected. to harm another being is never quite as simple as striking something outside oneself. It affects the one who acts. It shapes the mind. It leaves a mark. This is why the teaching became so powerful beyond temples and scriptures. It could become a personal vow, a social force, and a political weapon. Some people think of nonviolence as weakness until they see what it requires. It asks the human being to master the ancient reflex of reaction. That is a formidable path. Satyam treats truthfulness as a sacred way of aligning life. Truth in Hindu ethics is not only about avoiding lies. It is about bringing speech, thought, and action into harmony with reality. That sounds simple until we notice how often people live by convenient distortions. We exaggerate. We hide. We perform. We defend stories because they protect the ego. Satyam cuts through that habit. It suggests that falsehood is not merely a social problem. It is a spiritual dislocation. When speech loses contact with truth, the inner life becomes divided. This makes the teaching strangely practical. A person who speaks truth carefully begins to hear the mind more clearly. A community that honors truth can trust itself. A seeker who refuses deception becomes harder for illusion to control. Some people see this as an ancient technology of integrity. It does not require strange instruments or secret rituals. It begins with the mouth and the motive. Every truthful word becomes a small act of alignment with the real. Shiva turns service into worship without needing an audience. This teaching is powerful because it takes spirituality out of performance. Service does not need a stage. It can happen in kitchens, streets, homes, fields, and quiet acts no one remembers. In Hindu practice, seva can be offered to a teacher, a temple, a community, a guest, a parent, a stranger, or the divine presence within all beings. The point is not only to help, the point is to loosen the grip of self-importance. When service is done without hunger for praise, it becomes training against ego. That gives even simple work an unexpected depth. Sweeping a floor can become discipline. Feeding another person can become devotion. Listening patiently can become worship. Some people are surprised by how radical this is. It suggests that sacred life is not limited to special moods or special buildings. The ordinary task can become a doorway when the motive changes. The hidden question is always the same. Who is being served through this action? Puja brings devotion into the ordinary rhythms of home. A household shrine may look simple to an outsider, yet it can transform a room into a center of sacred attention. Puja often includes offering light, water, flowers, food, fragrance, or prayer to a chosen form of the divine. What makes it fascinating is the intimacy of the act. Worship is not confined to distant institutions. It can be woven into daily life before breakfast, after work, during a festival, or in a moment of distress. The divine is treated as present enough to be greeted, fed, honored, and remembered. Some people find this idea startling because it softens the boundary between religion and domestic life. The home becomes a small temple. The object of devotion becomes a guest. The family routine becomes part of a larger pattern of reverence. Puja also teaches attention through repetition. The same gesture, offered again and again, slowly trains the heart. It says that devotion is not only believed, it is practiced. Temples are built as meeting points between earth and divinity. A Hindu temple is not only a place where worship happens. Its design can express an entire vision of the universe. The approach, the tower, the inner chamber, the image, the movement of the devotee, and the rituals around it all work together to create sacred encounter. At the center is often the Garbhagriha, the womb chamber, where the main deity is housed in concentrated darkness. That detail alone is fascinating. The devotee moves from the outer world into a charged interior, as if entering the hidden center of reality. Temple architecture can also echo cosmic diagrams and sacred measurements. Some people see this and wonder whether ancient builders were encoding a spiritual map into stone. Whatever one believes, the effect is clear. The building is meant to change perception. You do not simply enter a hall. You pass into a structured world where matter, symbol, sound, and presence are arranged to draw the mind toward the sacred. A murti is honored as a living doorway to presence. To someone unfamiliar with Hindu worship, a sacred image may look like a statue. Within the tradition, it can be far more than that. Through ritual consecration and devotion, the murti becomes a focal point where divine presence is welcomed and encountered. This does not mean every devotee thinks stone or metal is merely being mistaken for God. The idea is subtler. The visible form gives the heart and senses a way to relate to what cannot be fully seen. Eyes meet eyes. Hands offer flowers. The mind becomes steady because the sacred has taken a shape it can approach. Some people find this psychologically brilliant. Human beings relate through form, gesture, face, and place. Hindu worship does not reject that human need. It sanctifies it. The murti becomes a meeting point, not because the infinite is trapped there, but because attention can be gathered there. Presence is invited through form, and form becomes transparent to mystery. Prasad transforms offered food into a shared blessing. Food becomes something different when it has first been offered to the divine. That is the heart of prasad. It may be fruit, sweets, rice, or another simple preparation, but once returned to devotees, it is received as grace. This practice is fascinating because it changes the meaning of eating. The food is not only nutrition and not only celebration. It has passed through an act of devotion. It has been given, received, and given back. That circulation creates a sacred economy of gratitude. No one is merely consuming. They are participating. Some people see in prasad a quiet challenge to modern life, where food is often rushed, isolated, or taken for granted. Here, the act becomes relational. The divine is treated as host and guest at once. The community shares what has been blessed. Even a small piece can carry emotional force because its value is not measured by size. The mystery lies in the exchange. Offering changes what returns. Mantras use sound as a tool for focused transformation. A mantra is not just a phrase repeated for comfort. In Hindu traditions, sacred sound can be treated as disciplined force. The repetition may steady attention, reshape emotion, invoke a deity, purify intention, or draw the mind toward a specific spiritual state. This makes mantras fascinating because they sit between language and vibration. Meaning matters, but sound also matters. Breath matters. Rhythm matters. The one who repeats the mantra is gradually changed by the act of repeating it. Some people find this almost like an ancient form of mental programming, although the tradition understands it in far deeper terms. A scattered mind keeps feeding itself random impressions. A mantra gives it one charged pattern to return to again and again. Over time, the practitioner may feel the words become less like something they are saying and more like something carrying them. The mystery is not only in the syllables, it is in what steady repetition can do to consciousness. Om is treated as the seed sound of reality. Few syllables have traveled so far while retaining such spiritual weight. In Hindu thought, Om is not merely a calming sound placed at the beginning of meditation. It is linked with creation, consciousness, sacred knowledge, and the totality of experience. Its sound is often understood as containing waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and the silence beyond them. That makes it astonishingly compact. A single syllable becomes a map of existence. For anyone drawn to hidden patterns, this is irresistible. How could one sound come to carry such enormous meaning? The answer lies partly in practice. When chanted slowly, Om draws attention into breath, vibration, and stillness. It is experienced in the body, not only understood by the mind. Some people speculate about sound shaping reality, but the traditional insight is already profound. Sound shapes the one who listens. It gathers scattered awareness into a single movement. Then, when the sound fades, the remaining silence begins to feel important. Meditation appears across Hindu paths with many different purposes. There is no single Hindu meditation that explains them all. Some practices focus on a deity. Others examine the self, repeat a mantra, observe the breath, visualize subtle forms, or cultivate detachment from thought. This variety matters because it shows how seriously the tradition studied the inner life. Different minds need different doors. A devotional person may be transformed by loving remembrance. A philosophical seeker may be drawn into sharp inquiry. A disciplined yogin may work with posture, breath, and concentration. A ritual practitioner may meditate on sacred form. What unites these methods is the claim that attention can be trained. That alone is a tremendous idea. Most people live as if the mind must simply do whatever it does. Hindu practice says otherwise. The mind can be watched, shaped, purified, and directed. Some people see this as one of the oldest maps of human potential. The hidden treasure is not somewhere else. It is behind the untamed movement of awareness. Pranayama trains the breath to steady the restless mind. Breath is unusual because it belongs to both body and will. It happens by itself, yet we can also guide it. Hindu yoga recognized this as a powerful doorway. By regulating breathing patterns, practitioners sought to influence energy, attention, emotion, and inner stability. This is not presented as a casual relaxation trick in the older traditions. It is a serious discipline that often belongs within a broader ethical and meditative path. What makes it so compelling is its immediacy. You do not need an elaborate object to begin noticing the breath. It is always there, quietly linking life and awareness. Some people are fascinated by the idea that ancient practitioners treated breath as more than oxygen. They saw it as connected with prana, the vital force that animates the organism. Whether one interprets that literally or symbolically, the insight is potent. Change the breath, and the mind often follows. The invisible rhythm becomes a handle on the self. Ayurveda connects health to balance, habit, and the natural world. Ayurveda approaches the human being as part of a larger pattern rather than as an isolated machine. Food, season, sleep, digestion, temperament, age, daily routine, and environment all matter. This makes it fascinating to people who feel modern life has separated health from the rhythms that support it. The system speaks of doshas, bodily tendencies that can move toward balance or disturbance. Whether one treats those categories traditionally or cautiously, the broader idea remains powerful. Health is not only what happens after illness appears. It is cultivated in ordinary choices repeated over time. Ayurveda pays attention to timing, warmth, rest, moderation, and the relationship between the person and the world around them. Some people are drawn to its ancient feel because it seems to remember something simple. The body is not separate from how one lives. A meal is not just fuel. A habit is not neutral. The daily pattern becomes the medicine or the problem. Jyotisha linked cosmic patterns with timing, ritual, and human life. In the Hindu world, astrology was not just fortune-telling in the modern newspaper sense. Jyotisha was connected with calendars, ritual timing, omens, planetary periods, and the belief that human life unfolds within a meaningful cosmic order. Its very name is related to light, which gives the practice an evocative power. People looked upward not only for beauty, but for timing. When should a rite be performed? When should a marriage be arranged? When might a difficult period require caution? Some listeners will take these claims literally. Others will hear them as a cultural language for making choices inside uncertainty. Either way, the fascination is real. Ancient societies did not see the sky as empty distance. They saw pattern, rhythm, and possible guidance. Jyotisha preserves that older relationship with the heavens. It suggests that time itself has texture. A moment may not be interchangeable with every other moment. The right action may depend on reading the hour. Vastu Shastra imagined architecture as harmony between space and energy. Buildings are never just containers in this way of thinking. Vastu Shastra treats built space as something that can support or disturb human life. Direction, proportion, placement, entrance, room function, and relationship to natural forces all become meaningful. This is fascinating because it reveals an ancient concern with how surroundings affect consciousness. A house is not neutral. A temple is not accidental. A city can embody order or confusion. Some people compare Vastu with other traditional systems that read the unseen influence of place. Whether one accepts every claim or not, the basic intuition is hard to dismiss. Space changes how we feel, move, gather, rest, and think. Vastu gives that intuition a sacred grammar. It asks builders to cooperate with larger patterns rather than impose shape blindly. There is something compelling about that. The wall, doorway, courtyard, and shrine are not merely practical details. They become part of a conversation between human design and the living order of the world. The Mahabharata is one of the longest epics ever composed. Its size alone is staggering, but length is not what makes it unforgettable. The Mahabharata contains war, philosophy, family conflict, political intrigue, vows, curses, divine intervention, moral collapse, and spiritual instruction. It is not a simple tale where the good are spotless and the wicked are obvious. Nearly every major figure is caught in a web of duty, ambition, loyalty, weakness, and consequence. That complexity is why the epic still feels alive. It understands that human beings can know the right thing and still fail to do it. It shows how a family dispute can grow into a catastrophe that consumes kingdoms. Some people are drawn to its scale because it feels almost like an ancient archive of human possibility. Hidden teachings appear inside dramatic scenes. Minor choices trigger enormous outcomes. Divine forces move through flawed people. The result is not merely a story about the past. It is a study of how disorder enters the world through the human heart. Krishna teaches action without attachment in the Bhagavad Gita. This may be one of the most practical teachings in all of Hindu thought. Krishna does not tell Arjuna to abandon action because life is difficult. He tells him to act with discipline while letting go of possessive attachment to the results. That is a subtle and demanding idea. Most people either cling to outcomes or withdraw when success is uncertain. The Gita offers a third path. Do the work, that is yours to do. Offer the result beyond the ego. Do not let fear, pride, or craving own the action. This has enormous power for modern life. A person can work, serve, lead, create, and struggle without becoming a prisoner of applause or failure. Some people hear this as spiritual psychology of the highest order. It does not remove responsibility. It purifies it. The teaching asks us to act fully while remaining inwardly free. That balance is difficult, which is exactly why it matters. Arjuna's crisis makes spiritual confusion feel deeply human. Before he receives teaching, Arjuna breaks down. This matters more than it may first appear. He is not weak, ignorant, or careless. He is a skilled warrior facing a situation where every possible action seems stained by consequence. His body trembles. His bow slips. His mind refuses the role that history has placed before him. This scene gives the Bhagavad Gita its human power. Wisdom does not arrive because someone is calmly curious. It arrives because a person can no longer live on borrowed certainty. Many listeners recognize that moment. The old answers stop working. Duty feels painful. Avoidance feels dishonest. The future becomes unbearable to imagine. Some people read Arjuna as every person who has reached a threshold they did not choose. His crisis is not an interruption of the teaching. It is the doorway into it. The Gita begins where pride ends. Confusion becomes sacred because it forces the deepest questions into the open. The Ramayana presents duty through exile, loyalty, and moral choice. The story begins with royal promise, but its power grows through loss. Rama is sent away from the throne. Sita follows him into the forest. Lakshmana joins out of devotion. What follows is not simply adventure. It is a long examination of character under pressure. The Ramayana asks what it means to remain faithful when life becomes unfair. It asks whether duty is still sacred when it hurts. It shows love tested by distance, power tested by restraint, and leadership tested before any crown is worn. That is why the epic has lived in so many languages, performances, and local traditions. People do not return to it only for plot. They return because its moral situations feel painfully recognizable. Some people are fascinated by how a story so ancient can still shape ideas of family, kingship, devotion, and virtue. Its world is grand, but its central question is intimate. What do we protect when everything familiar is taken away? Rama became a model of disciplined kingship and personal virtue. Rama's importance comes from the way he embodies restraint under pressure. He is remembered not merely as a heroic figure, but as someone who tries to live according to a demanding moral order. When power could become indulgence, he is associated with self-control. When grief could become chaos, he is expected to hold steady. When personal desire conflicts with public duty, the story becomes difficult and debated. That is part of what makes him so compelling. Rama is not only admired, he is interpreted, questioned, defended, and wrestled with across generations. Some people are drawn to him because he represents an ideal that almost no ordinary person could fully carry. Others are fascinated by the burden of being seen as perfect. In him, kingship becomes more than rule. It becomes moral responsibility under public scrutiny. The deepest question is not whether a leader can command. It is whether a leader can master himself before attempting to guide others. Sita embodies strength that is often quieter than conquest. Sita is sometimes misunderstood when her strength is measured only by outward aggression. Her power lies in endurance, clarity, loyalty, and moral dignity under extreme strain. She leaves palace comfort for forest hardship. She faces captivity without surrendering her inner authority. She speaks with force when her integrity is questioned. Across the many tellings of the Ramayana, she has become one of the most discussed figures in Hindu tradition because she refuses simple categories. She is gentle without being weak. She is devoted without being empty. She suffers without becoming spiritually defeated. This makes her fascinating to modern listeners because her story raises hard questions about virtue, expectation, gender, and the cost of being idealized. Some people see in Sita an ancient portrait of hidden resilience. Not every battle is fought with weapons. Not every victory looks like domination. Her presence asks us to notice forms of strength that quieter cultures may honor more deeply than loud ones. Hanuman shows devotion as courage, intelligence, and self-mastery. Hanuman is beloved because his devotion is never passive. It moves. It searches, leaps, serves, protects, remembers, and acts with astonishing focus. In the Ramayana, he is not only strong. He is wise, diplomatic, humble, and utterly dedicated to Rama. That combination makes him one of the most compelling figures in Hindu sacred storytelling. His power does not inflate his ego because it is offered in service. This is the key to his greatness. He knows what he can do, yet he does not make himself the center. Some people are fascinated by the stories of his hidden strength, especially the idea that he must be reminded of his own abilities. That detail feels psychologically brilliant. Many human beings carry capacities they have forgotten. Hanuman's leap to Lanka becomes more than a feat of strength. It becomes the moment when devotion awakens dormant power. His lesson is clear. The strongest person is not the one who serves himself best. Shiva holds destruction and meditation within one sacred identity. Shiva is one of the most arresting figures in Hinduism because he refuses to fit a narrow idea of holiness. He is the great yogi absorbed in stillness, yet he is also linked with dissolution, wildness, dance, ash, and the power that ends forms. This combination is not random. It reveals a profound insight. Destruction is not always evil. It can be the clearing that makes transformation possible. Meditation is not weakness. It can hold immense force in reserve. Shiva's presence is therefore both unsettling and liberating. Some people are drawn to him because he stands outside polite religious expectations. He appears at cremation grounds, in mountains, in silence, in cosmic dance. He wears signs that remind devotees of mortality and freedom from social vanity. Yet he is also worshipped as compassionate and accessible. His identity suggests that reality itself contains stillness and upheaval together. To understand life, one must not look away from either. Vishnu protects cosmic balance through many purposeful descents. Vishnu's role is often described through preservation, but that word can sound too calm for what the stories actually show. When disorder threatens the world, Vishnu enters the drama. He descends in different forms suited to different crises. This idea gives Hindu mythology an extraordinary flexibility. The divine does not respond in only one way. It adapts to the need of the age. Sometimes the form is animal. Sometimes it is human. Sometimes it is something in between. Some people find this endlessly fascinating because each descent feels like a coded answer to a particular imbalance. Pride, violence, tyranny, neglect, and cosmic danger are met through forms that reveal precise intelligence. Vishnu is not merely keeping things the same. He is protecting the conditions that allow life and order to continue. The teaching behind the stories is powerful. When the world loses balance, restoration may arrive in a form no one expected. Devi worship places the divine feminine at the center. In many religious imaginations, feminine divinity is secondary or symbolic. Hindu traditions include powerful streams where the goddess is ultimate, active, and supreme. Devi may appear as mother, warrior, queen, wisdom, abundance, or the energy behind existence itself. This makes her worship one of the most fascinating features of Hinduism. The feminine is not merely decorative. It is creative power. It is protection. It is knowledge. It is the force that moves the universe. Some people are startled by how direct this can be. In Shakta traditions, the goddess is not simply beside the highest reality. She is that reality in dynamic form. This changes the spiritual atmosphere completely. Power is not imagined only through masculine images of command. It is also birth, nourishment, fierce defense, and cosmic energy. Devi worship gives sacred language to experiences that might otherwise be pushed to the margins. It says that ultimate reality can be approached as mother, and that this is not metaphor alone. Ganesha became beloved as the remover of obstacles. Ganesha's image is instantly recognizable, yet the deeper meaning is richer than charm. He is invoked at beginnings because obstacles are not only external. A blocked path may be caused by confusion, pride, impatience, fear, or poor timing. Ganesha stands at thresholds, which makes him one of the most psychologically useful figures in Hindu worship. Before a journey, a business, a study, a ceremony, or a creative work, devotees ask for clarity and removal of hindrance. His elephant head adds another layer of fascination. It suggests strength joined with intelligence, memory, and careful movement. His broken tusk, round form, and mouse companion have inspired many interpretations, each pointing toward paradox. The great rides with the small. Wisdom can appear strange. Power can be friendly. Some people are drawn to Ganesha because he makes the sacred feel approachable without making it shallow. He reminds us that every beginning has invisible resistance, and that wise beginnings deserve reverence. Lakshmi links prosperity with beauty, generosity, and ethical fortune. Lakshmi is often associated with wealth, but reducing her to money misses the point. She represents a fuller kind of flourishing. Her presence suggests abundance that is graceful, life-supporting, and connected with virtue. In Hindu homes and temples, she may be honored for prosperity, harmony, well-being, and auspiciousness. That matters because wealth by itself can become restless or destructive. Lakshmi's blessing implies that good fortune should be clean, generous, and rightly held. This makes her especially interesting in a world obsessed with success. She does not simply ask whether you have more. She asks what kind of abundance you are inviting and what it does to the soul. Some people are fascinated by the way her imagery connects lotus, light, elephants, and flowing coins without making prosperity feel crude. The message is subtle, but powerful. Material life is not rejected. It is sanctified when joined to balance and gratitude. Fortune becomes sacred when it nourishes more than the self. Saraswati honors learning as a sacred form of refinement. In Saraswati, knowledge is not cold information. It is clarity, music, speech, memory, discipline, and the refinement of the mind. She is associated with the arts and learning because both require attention trained beyond instinct. A student praying to Saraswati is not merely asking to pass an examination. At the deeper level, the request is for the mind to become clear enough to receive truth. This is a beautiful and serious idea. Education becomes sacred when it improves the quality of awareness. Speech becomes sacred when it carries wisdom rather than noise. Music becomes sacred when it tunes the inner life. Some people are drawn to Saraswati because she offers a different model of power. Not conquest, not wealth, not force, but understanding. In a world drowning in information, her presence feels surprisingly modern. She reminds us that knowing more is not the same as becoming wiser. The mind must be cleansed, trained, and made worthy of what it seeks. Kali reveals that transformation can appear fierce before it heals. Kali is often misunderstood because her imagery is deliberately startling. She does not fit the comfortable idea that the sacred must always look calm or pleasant. In many Hindu traditions, she stands for time, death of ego, protection, and the force that cuts through illusion. Her garland, weapons, wild hair, and intense expression are not there for shock alone. They confront the viewer with realities most people avoid. Everything changes. False identity cannot survive forever. Fear loses some of its power when it is looked at directly. This is why Kali fascinates people who sense that spiritual life cannot be all softness. Sometimes what saves us first appears terrifying because it destroys what we were clinging to. Some people see in her a divine image of radical psychological change. Old patterns do not always leave politely. They may have to be severed. Kali's message is not despair. It is liberation through fearless truth. Durga symbolizes protective power that confronts chaos with clarity. Durga is not a passive figure waiting for rescue. She rides into the crisis fully armed, fully awake, and impossible to ignore. Her most famous story tells of a dangerous force that could not be defeated by the usual powers. The gods combine their strength, and from that gathered energy, she appears. That detail is fascinating because it presents the feminine divine as the answer when established power fails. Durga does not win by accident. She sees the threat clearly and meets it without confusion. For listeners drawn to hidden meanings, her battle can be read as more than myth. The demon becomes arrogance, disorder, or the shape-shifting force of inner sabotage. Every time it changes form, she remains steady. That is why her image has such lasting force. She represents protection without panic. She teaches that compassion sometimes requires strength. In her presence, courage is not loud aggression. It is disciplined power in service of balance. Brahma creates worlds but receives far less worship today. This is one of the curious surprises of Hinduism. A deity associated with creation might seem destined for the highest popular devotion, yet Brahma has relatively few major temples compared with Vishnu, Shiva, or Devi. That fact alone draws people in because it feels like a mystery inside the tradition. Stories explain this in different ways. Some describe curses. Others suggest that creation is only one phase of a larger sacred process. Once a world exists, human beings often turn more urgently toward preservation, transformation, protection, and grace. Brahma therefore becomes important without being widely central in daily worship. This unsettles any simple map of Hindu belief. Status in theology does not always equal popularity in practice. Some people find that deeply revealing. Religions are not built only from neat hierarchies. They are shaped by stories, emotion, region, ritual need, and devotional intimacy. Brahma remains a creator, yet his relative distance makes him more intriguing. Avatars show divinity entering history when balance is threatened. The avatar idea gives Hindu storytelling a dramatic power that feels almost cinematic. When the world becomes dangerously imbalanced, the divine does not remain remote. It enters the situation in a form suited to the crisis. This is not one intervention repeated mechanically. Each descent has a character, timing, and purpose. The form itself, becomes part of the message. A threat born from brute force may require a form that force cannot predict. A ruler lost in pride may be corrected through a smaller figure with cosmic authority hidden inside him. Some people find the concept irresistible because it suggests history has pressure points where sacred intelligence breaks through. It also raises a powerful question. If the divine can appear in unexpected forms, would people recognize it when it came? Hindu traditions use avatars to show that reality is not abandoned. Balance can return, but it may arrive disguised, disruptive, and impossible to control. Narasimha protects devotion through a startling half-lion form. The story of Narasimha is one of the most unforgettable in Hindu mythology because it turns a loophole into a revelation. A tyrant receives protections that seem to make him impossible to kill. Not by man or beast. Not indoors or outdoors. Not by day or night. Not on earth or in the sky. Then Vishnu appears in a form that does not fit the categories. Half man, half lion, he emerges at twilight on a threshold and destroys the tyrant without breaking the conditions. The drama is extraordinary because it shows the limits of cleverness when it is used against truth. The ruler thinks reality can be trapped by wording. The divine answers from beyond the wording. Some people love this story because it feels like sacred intelligence outmaneuvering arrogance. At the center is the child devotee Prahlada, whose faith survives pressure and threat. Protection arrives not softly, but precisely. Vamana defeats pride through humility rather than brute force. The Mana appears as a small Brahmin dwarf, which is exactly why the story is so brilliant. The powerful King Bali has gained enormous authority, and a direct confrontation would be predictable. Instead, Vishnu comes in a humble form and asks for only 3 steps of land. It sounds harmless. Then the little figure expands into cosmic magnitude and covers heaven and earth with 2 strides. Suddenly, the small request reveals its hidden scale. This is one of those Hindu stories that feels simple at first and staggering once it opens. Pride expects power to announce itself. The divine arrives underestimated. Some people see the tale as a warning about ambition that forgets proportion. Others notice the strange respect given to Bali, who is not portrayed as a cartoon villain. His greatness and his limitation coexist. The lesson is sharp. The universe does not need to shout to humble us. Sometimes it asks quietly, and the answer reveals everything. Karma supports the cosmic churning that releases hidden treasures. In the story of the churning of the ocean, gods and anti-gods seek Amrita, the nectar of immortality. They use a mountain as the churning rod and a serpent as the rope, but the mountain begins to sink. Vishnu becomes Kurma, the tortoise, and supports the whole operation from below. The image is strange, vast, and unforgettable. A cosmic quest depends on a hidden foundation. Without that support, the search for immortality collapses. This is what makes the story so fascinating. The treasures do not appear through wishful thinking. They emerge through tension, cooperation, danger, poison, and endurance. Some people read it as an encoded teaching about inner transformation. Deep treasures come only when the depths are churned, and that process may release toxins before blessings. Karma reminds us that the most important support may not be visible. Beneath the drama of striving, something steady must hold. Matsya preserves wisdom during a great flood story. The Matsya story begins with a small fish asking for protection, then grows into a tale of world preservation. The fish becomes enormous and warns Manu about a coming flood. A vessel is prepared, and seeds of future life are saved. What makes this story especially fascinating is its combination of humility and cosmic scale. The being who first appears vulnerable turns out to carry divine knowledge. A tiny act of care becomes linked to the survival of an age. Many cultures have flood stories, so listeners often lean closer when they hear this one. Some people wonder whether such myths preserve ancient memories of real disasters. Others see them as spiritual teachings about renewal after dissolution. In Hindu tradition, Matsya is not merely a rescue figure. He protects sacred knowledge through catastrophe. The deeper message is powerful. When the world seems to be ending, preservation begins with attention to what looks small. The Trimurti describes creation, preservation, and dissolution through divine roles. This framework offers a remarkably compact way to think about existence. Brahma brings forth worlds, Vishnu sustains order, and Shiva dissolves forms when their time has passed. The idea is often explained simply, but its implications are deep. Creation alone is not enough. A world must be maintained. Preservation alone is not enough. Forms that outlive their purpose must end. Destruction alone is not the final truth. It makes room for renewal. This gives Hindu thought a dynamic view of reality. Life is not a fixed possession. It moves through phases, and each phase has sacred meaning. Some people find this compelling because it refuses the childish idea that only beginnings are holy. Endings also belong to the order of things. So does the difficult middle work of sustaining what matters. The Trimurti does not reduce the divine to three separate jobs. It invites us to see process itself as sacred. Shakti names the active power behind manifestation and life. Shakti is one of the most important ideas for understanding Hindu spirituality because it names divine energy as living force. Without it, consciousness would remain still and unexpressed. With it, worlds appear, bodies move, thoughts arise, devotion burns, and transformation becomes possible. This makes Shakti far more than an abstract concept. It is power as presence. It is the pulse behind form. In many traditions, Shakti is inseparable from the goddess, which places feminine divinity at the heart of cosmic activity. Some people find this electrifying because it overturns the idea that the sacred feminine is merely gentle or symbolic. Here, it is the energy by which anything happens at all. In a human life, Shakti may be felt as vitality, creativity, spiritual intensity, or the force that pushes a person beyond old limits. The teaching suggests that reality is not inert matter waiting to be used. It is alive with power. Tantra includes disciplined practices far broader than modern stereotypes suggest. The word Tantra is often misunderstood in modern culture, where it gets narrowed into a few sensational ideas. In Hindu traditions, it can refer to complex systems of ritual, mantra, visualization, deity worship, body symbolism, sacred diagrams, initiation, and disciplined transformation. That range is important. Tantra often begins with a striking claim. The world does not have to be rejected in order to be spiritual. The body, senses, sound, image, and energy can become part of practice when handled with training and reverence. This is why it attracts so much curiosity. It seems to contain secret methods, hidden maps, and a refusal to divide life too neatly into sacred and ordinary. Some people are drawn to its boundary-crossing reputation, but serious Tantra is not casual rebellion. It is structured and demanding. Its deeper fascination lies in the idea that the forces which bind us may also become forces that awaken us when approached with knowledge. Kundalini is described as dormant spiritual energy, awaiting awakening. The image is famous because it is so direct. A power lies coiled at the base of the subtle body, and spiritual practice can awaken its upward movement. Whether listeners interpret this literally, symbolically, or psychologically, the idea is magnetic. It suggests that human beings contain a hidden capacity not normally active in ordinary life. This is why Kundalini has captured the imagination of yogis, mystics, and modern seekers. The tradition often warns that such power should not be treated lightly. Awakening is not a party trick. It can disrupt the nervous system, identity, emotion, and perception if pursued without grounding. That caution makes the subject even more fascinating. The hidden force is not presented as harmless decoration. It is transformative fire. Some people hear in Kundalini the promise that consciousness can evolve within a single lifetime. The body becomes a sacred landscape, and the spine becomes a path of ascent. Chakras became influential maps of subtle human experience. The chakra system is one of the most globally recognized ideas from Hindu and yogic traditions, but it is often simplified. Traditionally, chakras are not merely colorful symbols for personality traits. They are part of subtle body models used in meditation, tantra, mantra, and inner visualization. Each center can be associated with sounds, deities, elements, petals, powers, and forms of awareness. That makes them more like sacred diagrams inside the human being than simple energy buttons. Some people are fascinated because chakras suggest that the body has hidden architecture beyond muscles and bones. Whether one approaches them as spiritual anatomy or symbolic psychology, they offer a way to think about human experience in layers. Survival, desire, will, devotion, expression, insight, and transcendence can be imagined as a rising pattern. The appeal is obvious. We feel blocked in different ways. We also feel openings. The chakra map gives language to that inner geography. Bhakti made intense love a complete path to the divine. Bhakti changed the spiritual atmosphere by making devotion central, direct, and emotionally powerful. It taught that love itself could carry a person toward God. This was not sentimental feeling alone. It could involve song, surrender, remembrance, pilgrimage, weeping, dancing, serving, and repeating the divine name with total absorption. The remarkable thing is that Bhakti opened a path for people beyond elite learning or complex ritual training. A person with sincere love could stand close to the sacred. That made devotion spiritually explosive and socially significant. Some people see in Bhakti a rebellion against the idea that ultimate truth belongs only to scholars or priests. It says the heart can know what argument cannot reach. The stories of devotees often feel wild with longing because they treat God as intimately real, not distant, not merely conceptual, not coldly metaphysical. Bhakti's great claim is simple and overwhelming. Love can become a vehicle of liberation. The Alvars sang devotion that reshaped South Indian spirituality. The Alvars were poet saints devoted to Vishnu, and their songs helped transform the religious landscape of South India. Their importance lies not only in what they taught, but in how they expressed it. They sang in Tamil, bringing profound devotion into a language of lived emotion and local culture. Their hymns describe longing, surrender, beauty, grief, and overwhelming love for the divine. This matters because sacred authority was not limited to distant Sanskrit learning. Devotional experience spoke in the language of the people. Some listeners are surprised by how emotionally intense these poems can be. The divine is not treated as an idea to be admired from far away. Vishnu is beloved, master, refuge, and intimate presence. The Alvars helped shape temple worship and later devotional philosophy, especially within Sri Vaishnavism. Their legacy shows how song can become theology, A sun cry from the heart can alter the course of religious history. The Nyanmars praised Shiva through poetry, pilgrimage, and surrender. The Nyanmars were Shiva devotees, whose lives and hymns helped define Tamil Shiva devotion. Their stories are vivid because they often present worship as total commitment rather than polite belief. They traveled to temples, sang praise, served other devotees, and treated Shiva as the center around which life should turn. Their poems did something powerful. They made devotion feel local, embodied, and emotionally immediate. A temple was not just a religious site. It was a place of encounter. A name was not just a label. It was a call. Some people are fascinated by the intensity of Nyanmar legends because they do not always fit modern ideas of moderate spirituality. These saints could be fierce, tender, strange, humble, and absolute in their surrender. Their movement helped strengthen Shaivism in South India and gave ordinary worship a passionate voice. The lesson is striking. Philosophy may persuade the mind, but song can seize the whole person. Ramanuja taught that souls remain distinct while depending on God. Ramanuja offered a vision of spiritual unity that did not erase relationship. For him, the soul and the universe are real, and both depend completely on the supreme God. This is different from saying everything is simply identical in an undifferentiated way. His thought preserves devotion because lover and beloved do not vanish into abstraction. The soul can surrender, serve, love, and know God while remaining itself. That is why his philosophy became so important for devotional Hinduism. It gives emotional life a strong metaphysical foundation. Some people find this fascinating because it refuses a false choice between oneness and difference. Reality can be deeply unified without making personal devotion meaningless. Ramanuja also shaped communities through temple life, teaching, and a strong emphasis on grace. His view makes liberation feel relational rather than solitary. The human being is not saved by becoming coldly detached from all connection. The deepest freedom is belonging rightly to the divine. Shankara argued that ultimate reality is non-dual and undivided. Shankara's teaching is intellectually thrilling because it pushes spiritual inquiry to the edge of language. According to Advaita Vedanta, the deepest truth is not two. Brahman alone is ultimately real, and the separate self is misunderstood when seen apart from that reality. This is not a casual claim that everything is connected. It is far more radical. The ordinary division between subject and object, self and world, seeker and goal, is treated as a product of ignorance. Knowledge dissolves the mistake. Some people find this almost mind-bending because it suggests that the liberation we seek is not produced in time. It is recognized as what has always been true. Shankara used careful reasoning, scripture, debate, and monastic organization to defend this vision. For a listener who enjoys reality-shaking ideas, Advaita is hard to beat. It asks whether the separate person we defend so fiercely may be a temporary appearance within one indivisible awareness. Madhva defended a real difference between soul and God. Madhva took a sharply different path from non-dual thinkers. He argued that difference is real, not merely a mistake in perception. God, souls, and the world are distinct, and devotion depends on recognizing that distinction. This creates a powerful theological contrast within Hinduism. The tradition does not speak with one philosophical voice. It stages serious debates about the deepest structure of reality. Madhva's view gives personality, worship, and dependence a firm place. The soul does not discover that it was always identical with the Supreme. It recognizes its reliance on God and finds liberation through devotion and grace. Some people find this refreshing because it protects the drama of relationship. Love requires more than one. Prayer requires an addressee. Surrender requires someone greater than the surrendering self. Madhva's system is rigorous, not merely emotional. It shows that Hindu philosophy contains bold disagreement, and that disagreement itself became part of the tradition's brilliance. Chaitanya spread ecstatic devotion to Krishna through sacred chanting. Chaitanya is remembered for a form of devotion so intense that it transformed public religious life. He emphasized the chanting of Krishna's names as a direct path of love and spiritual awakening. This was not quiet belief stored inside the mind. It was sung, embodied, communal, and emotionally overwhelming. The practice of kirtan brought people together through rhythm, repetition, and shared longing. That made devotion feel immediate. The divine name was not only a reminder of God, it was treated as presence itself. Some people are fascinated by Chaitanya because he blurred the line between teacher and mystic. His followers saw him as embodying the very love he taught. His influence later spread far beyond India, through devotional movements centered on Krishna. The deeper idea is gripping. A name, repeated with sincerity, can change consciousness. Sound becomes memory. Memory becomes love. Love becomes the path. What seems simple from outside becomes inexhaustible from within. Mirabai turned personal longing into fearless devotional song. Mirabai's life has the force of a spiritual legend because she refused to let social expectation define the limit of her devotion. A royal woman devoted to Krishna, she sang as if the divine beloved were more real to her than power, reputation, or domestic pressure. Her songs are direct, emotional, and difficult to tame. They do not sound like theology written safely from a distance. They sound like someone whose heart has chosen a path the world cannot easily manage. This is why she continues to fascinate people across centuries. Her devotion was personal, but its consequences were public. She became a symbol of spiritual independence, especially for those who feel trapped by inherited roles. Some people read her as a rebel. Others see her as a saint consumed by love. Both readings point to her power. Mirabai shows that devotion can become a form of freedom so strong that even status begins to look like a cage. Tulsidas retold Rama's story in a language people understood. Tulsidas did something that changed religious culture. He retold the story of Rama in a wadi, bringing a sacred epic into a form that vast numbers of ordinary people could hear, sing, remember, and love. This matters because language controls access. When wisdom is locked inside elite speech, many hearts stand outside the door. Tulsidas opened that door through the Ramcharitmalas. His work did not merely repeat an older story. It gave Rama devotion a new emotional and cultural life in North India. Families, singers, performers, and communities carried it forward. Some people are fascinated by this because it shows how powerful translation can be when it becomes spiritual transmission. A story changes the world when people can inhabit it. Rama becomes present in village recitation, festival drama, household memory, and personal prayer. Tulsidas reminds us that sacred literature is not only preserved by scholars. It lives when it enters the breath of a people. Kabir challenged empty ritual while drawing from multiple traditions. Kabir is one of the most arresting voices in Indian spirituality because he cuts through pretense with astonishing directness. He questioned religious pride, mechanical ritual, social division, and a habit of searching outside while ignoring the truth within. His language often feels sharp because he was not trying to flatter anyone. He spoke across boundaries associated with Hindu and Muslim worlds, and his verses still resist easy ownership. That makes him fascinating to people who distrust official narratives. Kabir seems to say that the sacred cannot be captured by labels, costumes, or institutions. If the heart remains asleep, outward display means little. Yet he was not simply negative. His poems point toward an immediate encounter with the divine, often through the inner name, the teacher, and direct awareness. Some people love Kabir because he feels like a spiritual troublemaker in the best sense. He does not destroy faith. He attacks whatever blocks the living experience of it. The Puranas made cosmic ideas vivid through stories and genealogies. The Puranas are fascinating because they turn immense religious concepts into narratives people can remember. They contain myths, lineages, cosmology, sacred geography, rituals, moral teaching, and accounts of gods and sages. Instead of presenting everything as abstract philosophy, they let ideas move through characters and events. This is why they became so influential. A listener may not follow a difficult metaphysical argument, but they can remember a god's descent, a king's mistake, a demon's arrogance, or a devotee's rescue. The Puranas also show how Hindu tradition organized time on a scale that feels almost impossible to grasp. Dynasties stretch backward, worlds rise and fall. Divine actions echo through ages. Some people are drawn to them because they feel like archives of hidden history, mythic memory, and symbolic coding. Whether read literally, devotionally, or psychologically, they reveal a culture thinking on a cosmic scale. The human story is placed inside a much larger sacred drama. Mount Meru became the imagined axis of sacred geography. Mount Meru is not just a mountain in the ordinary sense. In Hindu cosmology, it functions as a central axis around which worlds, heavens, directions, and divine realms are imagined. This makes it one of the most intriguing sacred locations because it is both place and pattern. It gives the universe a center. It turns geography into metaphysics. Ancient people did not always draw a hard line between map, myth, and meaning. A sacred mountain could describe the structure of reality as much as a physical landmark. Some people find Meru fascinating because similar world mountain ideas appear in different cultures. That does not prove wild theories, but it certainly invites late-night speculation. Why do human beings keep imagining a central height that connects realms? In Hindu thought, Meru helps orient the mind within a layered cosmos. It says, existence is not flat. There are levels of being, and sacred vision requires learning where one stands. Sacred rivers are revered as living presences, not scenery. In Hindu life, a river can be far more than water moving through land. It may be treated as a goddess, a purifier, a witness, and a root of blessing. This changes the relationship between people and nature. The river is not merely used. It is approached, praised, entered, and remembered. Bathing in sacred waters can be an act of renewal. Offering lamps or prayers can become a gesture of gratitude. The fascination here is not only religious. It is civilizational. Entire cities, festivals, pilgrimages, and family rites have formed around rivers because flowing water became linked with spiritual continuity. Some people see this as an ancient ecological intuition wrapped in devotion. When nature is alive with sacred presence, exploitation becomes morally harder. Of course, human behavior does not always live up to the ideal, but the idea itself is powerful. A river becomes a teacher. It moves, nourishes, receives, and carries memory forward. The Ganges carries a spiritual meaning deeper than water alone. For millions of Hindus, the Ganges is not simply a famous river. She is Ganga, a sacred presence whose descent from heaven is told through powerful myth. The story involves divine force, human need, and Shiva receiving the river in his matted hair so her impact would not shatter the earth. That image alone is unforgettable. A cosmic river must be softened before entering the human world. The Ganges is associated with purification, pilgrimage, ancestral rites, and the hope of spiritual release. People travel great distances to bathe in her waters or bring her water home. Some people are fascinated by the intensity of this devotion because it reveals how matter and meaning can merge. To one eye, it is water. To another, it is grace in motion. The river's power lies not only in belief, but in the generations of longing carried to her banks. She has become a flowing archive of prayer. Kashi is honored as a city of liberation and remembrance. Kashi, also known as Varanasi or Banaras, has a reputation unlike almost any other sacred city. It is associated with Shiva, pilgrimage, learning, cremation, ritual bathing, and the possibility of liberation at death. That combination gives the city an atmosphere that fascinates visitors and devotees alike. Life and mortality stand close together there. The ghats along the Ganges are not merely steps beside a river. They are stages where daily worship, family rites, chanting, commerce, study, grief, and hope unfold side by side. Some people are drawn to Kashi because it does not hide death behind walls. It places impermanence in public view and wraps it in sacred meaning. The city suggests that remembering mortality can deepen life rather than darken it. For Hindu imagination, Kashi is not only ancient stone and crowded lanes. It is a threshold. People go there seeking merit, blessing, knowledge, and final release from the cycle that binds beings. Rameswaram links devotion to Rama with the southern sea. Rameswaram holds a special place because it connects geography with one of Hinduism's most beloved epics. Tradition links it to Rama's journey toward Lanka and to his worship of Shiva before the Great Crossing. That makes the site a meeting point of devotion to Rama and reverence for Shiva, which is itself fascinating. Sacred places often gather layers rather than choosing only one meaning. The island setting adds to the sense of threshold. Land reaches toward sea. Story reaches toward memory. Pilgrims visit temples, bathe in sacred waters, and feel themselves stepping into a landscape shaped by epic imagination. Some people are drawn to Rameswaram because of traditions about a bridge or causeway stretching toward Sri Lanka. Whether approached through faith, history, or speculation, the place invites curiosity. It asks how stories attach themselves to land so powerfully that geography becomes sacred evidence. The sea is not just scenery there. It becomes part of the narrative. Jagannath worship gathers millions around a remarkable chariot festival. At Puri, the annual Rath Yatra turns devotion into a massive public movement. The deities Jagannath, Balabhadra, and Subhadra are brought out from the temple and placed on enormous wooden chariots. Crowds pull them through the streets in an event that feels both royal and intimate. The divine leaves the inner sanctuary and comes among the people. That idea is electrifying. A god usually approached inside a sacred enclosure becomes visible in the open road. Jagannath himself is fascinating because his form is unlike many familiar Hindu images. The large eyes, bold shape, and distinctive presence have inspired deep devotion and many interpretations. Some people see in him a mysterious fusion of regional, tribal, and pan-Hindu elements. The festival's scale is astonishing, but its deeper power is accessibility. For a moment, distance collapses. The deity moves, the city becomes a temple, and the road becomes a path of encounter. The Kumbh Mela is among the largest gatherings on earth. The sheer scale of this pilgrimage is difficult to imagine until you understand what draws people there. Millions gather at sacred river sites during astrologically significant times, believing that bathing in the waters can cleanse spiritual burden and renew the soul's journey. The event is not simply a crowd. It is a temporary sacred city with camps, teachers, ascetics, families, processions, chanting, cooking fires, and ritual bathing woven into one vast movement. For anyone drawn to hidden patterns, the timing itself is fascinating because the gathering is linked to celestial calculation and mythic memory. The story behind it reaches back to the churning of the cosmic ocean and drops of immortal nectar falling to earth. That turns geography into sacred consequence. A riverbank becomes part of a divine event. The Kumbh Mela shows religion not as a private thought, but as a civilization moving together through time, faith, body, and water. Diwali celebrates light, return, prosperity, and inner renewal. Diwali is famous for lamps, but its meaning is deeper than decoration. Across regions, it can mark the return of Rama, the worship of Lakshmi, the triumph of light over darkness, or the beginning of a new financial year. What unites these meanings is a sense of restoration. Homes are cleaned. Lamps are lit. Families gather. Offerings are made. The atmosphere says that disorder does not have the final word. Light can be invited back. This is why the festival speaks so easily across cultures. Everyone understands the desire for a fresh beginning. Some people are fascinated by how an ancient festival can hold domestic life, cosmic symbolism, and practical hope in one evening. A small flame becomes a statement against confusion. Prosperity is welcomed, but ideally with gratitude and right conduct. Diwali does not merely celebrate brightness outside the home. It asks whether the inner house has also been prepared. Holi turns color into celebration of devotion and joy. Holi is often seen from outside as a festival of colored powder and playful chaos, but its roots reach into stories of devotion, survival, and divine love. One famous strand remembers Prahlada, whose faith endured the cruelty of a powerful ruler. Another celebrates the playful world of Krishna, where love and color overturn ordinary social distance for a time. This mixture gives Holi its unusual energy. It is joyous, but not empty. It carries the memory that arrogance can fall and devotion can survive. The throwing of colors becomes more than spectacle. It temporarily loosens everyday boundaries and reminds people that life is not meant to be lived only in tight control. Some people see in Holi a ritualized release of pressure. The world becomes bright, unpredictable, and shared. Yet beneath the laughter is a serious pattern. Darkness is burned away. Spring arrives. Human beings are invited to meet one another with a lighter heart. Navaratri honors divine feminine power across 9 sacred nights. Navaratri is a festival of duration, not just a single moment of celebration. Over 9 nights, different forms of the goddess are honored through worship, fasting, dance, music, storytelling, and household ritual. Its meaning changes by region, yet the central force remains clear. Divine power is approached as feminine, active, protective, and transformative. That alone makes the festival extraordinary. It places the goddess at the center of cosmic drama and personal devotion. In some traditions, the nights lead toward Durga's victory over a shape-shifting demon. In others, they honor Lakshmi, Saraswati, or local forms of the Divine Mother. Some people are fascinated by how the same festival can feel fierce in one place and graceful in another without losing coherence. Navaratri shows Hinduism's ability to hold many expressions inside one sacred rhythm. Each night becomes a step deeper into the power that creates, protects, teaches, and renews. Makar Sankranti marks a solar turning with regional traditions. This festival stands out because it is tied to the sun's movement rather than only the lunar calendar. It marks a transition associated with longer days and the northward journey of the sun. That gives it a cosmic simplicity. Human life pauses to acknowledge a shift in light. Across India, the celebration takes many forms. People fly kites, prepare sesame sweets, bathe in sacred waters, honor cattle, visit family, and give thanks for harvest. The details differ, but the underlying pattern is clear. Time itself is being noticed. Some people find this fascinating because modern life often treats days as interchangeable units on a screen. Makar Sankranti remembers that the sky has rhythm, and human beings once lived more consciously inside that rhythm. The festival is practical and sacred at once. It ties agriculture, sunlight, household generosity, and cosmic timing together. A seasonal turn becomes a spiritual event. Raksha Bandhan celebrates protective bonds within family life. Raksha Bandhan centers on a simple gesture with deep emotional meaning. A sister ties a thread around her brother's wrist, and the thread becomes a sign of care, blessing, and protection. In modern practice, the meaning can extend beyond biological siblings, but the heart of the festival remains relational. It says that love should be remembered through action, not assumed silently. The fascinating part is how small the ritual object is. A thread can carry memory, obligation, affection, and moral promise. Some people see in this an ancient understanding of symbolic binding. Human beings need visible signs for invisible commitments. A knot can make responsibility feel real. The festival also reminds us that spiritual life in Hindu culture does not happen only in temples or forests. It is woven into family rhythms. Protection is not merely physical strength. It is loyalty, presence, and the willingness to stand beside another person when life becomes difficult. Pongal gives thanks for harvest, cattle, and sunlight. Pongal is a South Indian harvest festival with a warmth that feels deeply grounded. At its center is gratitude for the forces that make life possible. Newly harvested rice is cooked until it boils over, and that overflowing becomes a sign of abundance. The sun is honored. Cattle are decorated and thanked for their labor. Homes are cleaned and thresholds are marked with beautiful designs. This is not abstract spirituality. It is religion close to the soil, the kitchen, the courtyard, and the animal world. Some people are fascinated by how clearly Pongal preserves an older relationship with dependence. Food does not appear by magic. It comes through weather, work, animals, land, and timing. The festival makes that dependence visible. It refuses to let prosperity become forgetful. In a world where many people are separated from the sources of their food, Pongal feels like a reminder from an older intelligence. Gratitude must be practiced before it disappears. Hindu calendars follow lunar and solar rhythms with local variety. Time in Hindu tradition is not merely a blank container for events. It is patterned, sacred, and carefully observed. Calendars may follow lunar months, solar transitions, or regional systems that shape festivals, fasting days, rites, and auspicious timings. This creates a world where time has texture. One day may be suited for worship. Another may carry ancestral meaning. A festival may fall according to the moon in one context and solar reckoning in another. To modern listeners, this can seem complicated, but the deeper idea is fascinating. Human life is being synchronized with celestial rhythm, seasonal change, and inherited memory. Some people are drawn to the possibility that ancient timekeeping encoded more than convenience. It linked sky observation with ritual power and social order. A calendar became a spiritual map of the year. It told people not only what day it was, but what kind of attention the day deserved. Ashrams became places for learning, discipline, and spiritual practice. An ashram is not simply a retreat from ordinary life. At its best, it is a place where life is reorganized around practice. Students, seekers, renunciants, or householders may gather under guidance to study, serve, meditate, chant, work, and simplify their habits. What makes the ashram fascinating is that it treats environment as part of transformation. The day is structured. The senses are guided. The teacher's presence matters. Community becomes both support and challenge. Some people imagine spirituality as private inspiration, but an ashram suggests something more demanding. Freedom may require training conditions. The mind may need a different rhythm before it can see itself clearly. Historically, ashrams have appeared in many forms, from forest hermitages to modern centers of teaching. Their appeal remains strong because they answer a question many people quietly carry. What would happen if an entire place were arranged around awakening rather than distraction? The ashram is one answer. Gurus transmit wisdom through relationship, example, and instruction. The guru is not merely a lecturer who provides information. In Hindu traditions, the role can involve guidance, correction, initiation, presence, and the living transmission of a path. This makes the relationship powerful and also serious. A true teacher is expected to help remove darkness, not increase dependence or confusion. The student does not only collect ideas. The student is observed, challenged, and shaped through practice. This is fascinating because it reveals a different model of knowledge. Some things cannot be learned from words alone. One must see how wisdom breathes in a human life. A teacher's conduct becomes part of the teaching. Some people are drawn to the mystery of transmission, where a glance, mantra, instruction, or silence can become decisive. Yet the tradition also warns against false teachers through stories and ethical expectations. The guru principle is profound because it says, awakening may require another person who can see the knots we cannot see ourselves. Sannyasa is the life stage of renunciation and inward freedom. Sannyasa represents one of the boldest possibilities in Hindu life. After fulfilling worldly duties, a person may turn away from possession, status, and ordinary social identity in search of liberation. This does not mean hatred of the world. It means recognizing that worldly roles cannot answer every hunger of the soul. The renunciant becomes a living challenge to common assumptions. Most societies measure success by accumulation. Sannyasa asks what remains when accumulation is no longer the goal. The robe, staff, wandering life, or simple discipline can become signs of a deeper shift. Some people find renunciation fascinating because it appears almost like stepping outside the operating system of ordinary society. The person no longer plays the same game. Of course, traditions differ, and not every renunciant looks the same. Yet the ideal remains powerful. There comes a time when the question is not what else can be gained. It is what must be released. The four ashramas frame life as a spiritual journey. This Hindu model divides life into stages of studenthood, household responsibility, gradual withdrawal, and renunciation. What makes the idea remarkable is that it gives dignity to different seasons of life. Youth is for learning and discipline. Adult life is for family, work, and contribution. Later years create space for reflection. The final stage turns toward freedom beyond possession. Not everyone follows this pattern literally, but the vision is powerful. It refuses to make one age the whole meaning of life. A young person should not pretend to have finished learning. A householder should not despise responsibility. An elder should not be trapped forever in ambition. Some people find this fascinating because modern culture often lacks a sacred map for aging. It tells people how to achieve, but not always how to release. The 4 ashramas suggest that a complete life changes its center of gravity over time. Growth means knowing which task belongs to the season. The 4 purusharthas balance duty, prosperity, pleasure, and liberation. Hindu thought does not always demand that human beings reject the world immediately. The purusharthas name 4 aims of life: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Duty, material support, enjoyment, and liberation each have a place when properly understood. This is a remarkably mature view of human life. It does not pretend that people have no need for security or pleasure. It also does not allow those needs to become the highest truth. The genius is in the balance. Prosperity without duty becomes dangerous. Pleasure without wisdom becomes restless. Duty without liberation can become dry obligation. Liberation without respect for life's stages can become premature escape. Some people find this framework fascinating because it feels more psychologically complete than simple moralism. It recognizes the human being as layered. We need food, love, meaning, order, and freedom. The question is not whether these aims exist. The question is whether they are held in the right proportion. Japa repeats a sacred name until attention becomes devotion. Japa is simple enough to begin, yet deep enough to occupy a lifetime. A practitioner repeats a mantra or divine name, often with a string of beads that helps maintain rhythm and count. From the outside, repetition may look mechanical. From within, it can become a way of gathering the scattered mind into one living current. Each repetition returns attention to what matters. Each bead becomes a small step away from distraction. This is fascinating because it uses one of the mind's own habits against its confusion. The mind repeats worries, fantasies, complaints, and old stories all day long. Japa gives repetition a sacred object. Some people compare it to carving a channel through consciousness. Over time, the name may continue inwardly even when the lips are still. The practice suggests that transformation does not always arrive through dramatic visions. Sometimes it comes through faithful return, one repetition after another, until the heart is trained. Darshan means seeing and being seen by the divine. Darshan is one of the most powerful ideas in Hindu worship because it makes sight reciprocal. A devotee goes to see the deity, but the deeper experience is also to be seen. This changes everything. Worship is not only speaking upward into emptiness. It is standing before presence. In a temple, the opening of the shrine, the lamplight, the face of the murti, and the movement of the crowd all build toward this moment of encounter. The eyes matter. Attention matters. The devotee receives the sight as blessing. Some people find darshan fascinating because it treats vision as a sacred exchange rather than a passive act. We live in a world flooded with images, yet most of them do not truly see us. Darshan suggests another possibility. To stand before the divine is to let the deepest part of life look back. That single idea explains why pilgrims travel so far for one glimpse. Pilgrimage turns travel into discipline, memory, and sacred encounter. In Hindu tradition, pilgrimage is not tourism with religious scenery added. It is travel with intention. A pilgrim may walk, fast, bathe, pray, endure discomfort, visit temples, follow an ancestral route, or seek blessing at a place charged by story. The journey matters because the body participates in the search. Distance is felt. Effort is offered. The ordinary self is unsettled by movement. This makes pilgrimage fascinating as a spiritual technology. The sacred place is important, but so is the transformation created by going there. Some people are drawn to the idea that land can hold memory. A river crossing, mountain path, temple town, or coastal shrine becomes meaningful because generations have poured devotion into it. The pilgrim does not invent the path alone. They enter a stream of previous footsteps. Travel becomes a way of remembering what daily life makes easy to forget. The destination is outside, but the real arrival is inward. Cow reverence reflects ideas of nourishment, restraint, and gratitude. The cow holds a special place in Hindu culture because she represents more than an animal category. She is associated with giving, patience, fertility, agricultural life, and the nourishment of households through milk and related products. In many settings, reverence for the cow became a visible expression of non-harm and gratitude. This can be misunderstood when seen only through modern political arguments. The deeper religious feeling is older and more layered. A creature that sustains human life without needing to be killed becomes morally significant. Some people find this fascinating because it shows how an ethical imagination can form around dependence. The animal is not merely useful. She becomes worthy of protection because usefulness is joined to gentleness. Of course, practices vary by region and history, but the symbol remains powerful. Cow reverence asks a difficult question for any culture. How do we treat the beings that help us live? Gratitude becomes real only when it changes behavior. Vegetarian practice often grows from compassion and ritual purity. Vegetarianism in Hindu life has many roots, and it is not practiced by every Hindu in the same way. For many, it reflects ahimsa, the wish to reduce harm to living beings. For others, it is connected with purity, temple discipline, family tradition, regional custom, or the qualities believed to be encouraged by certain foods. This variety matters because the practice is not a single rule with one explanation. It is a moral and spiritual habit shaped by context. Some people find it fascinating that food can become a field of self-training. Eating is ordinary, repetitive, and intimate. That makes it powerful. A diet can express compassion without a speech. It can also prepare the mind for worship or meditation. The deeper idea is that the body and the soul are not strangers. What we consume affects how we feel, act, and pray. A meal becomes a choice about the kind of consciousness we are feeding. Classical dance can become storytelling, devotion, and embodied philosophy. In Hindu traditions, dance can carry meaning through the whole body. Gesture, posture, rhythm, facial expression, costume, and music work together to tell sacred stories and convey subtle emotion. This is not entertainment alone, although it can certainly be beautiful. It is a disciplined language. A raised hand, a glance, a turn of the head, or a precise foot pattern can communicate devotion, longing, bravery, mischief, or revelation. Some people are fascinated by this because it suggests that philosophy does not have to remain in books. It can be performed through breath, muscle, balance, and timing. The dancer becomes a moving interpreter of myth and theology. The audience is not only watching skill, they are being invited into a sacred world through trained embodiment. In a culture where knowledge is often treated as mental, classical dance offers a different claim. The body can remember wisdom, the body can teach. Bharatanatyam preserves sacred gesture through disciplined artistic expression. Bharatanatyam is one of India's most renowned classical dance forms, and its power lies in precision. It combines strong geometry, expressive storytelling, rhythmic footwork, and codified hand gestures that can bring mythic scenes to life. Historically associated with temple and later stage traditions in South India, it carries a devotional charge, even when performed in modern contexts. What makes it fascinating is how much meaning can be held in a controlled movement. The dancer may shift from a devotee to a god, from a narrator to a beloved, from human emotion to sacred presence, all within one performance. Some people are drawn to the almost coded nature of the art. The hands speak, the eyes reveal. The feet strike rhythm into the earth. The face becomes a scripture of feeling. Bharatanatyam shows that discipline does not kill expression. It concentrates it. The more refined the form becomes, the more powerfully it can carry inner fire. Kathak carries temple devotion, court refinement, and rhythmic brilliance. Kathak has a layered history that makes it especially intriguing. Its name is linked to storytellers who carried tales through performance, and over time, it absorbed devotional, courtly, and musical influences. The result is a dance form famous for spins, expressive narration, graceful movement, and astonishing footwork. Rhythm becomes a kind of intelligence. The dancer converses with the drum through patterns that can grow more complex while remaining alive and clear. This is not merely technical display. Kathak can tell stories of Krishna, portray emotional states, or turn mathematical timing into beauty. Some people find it fascinating because it seems to hold history in the body. Temple storytelling and royal sophistication meet inside one art. The performer stands between devotion and virtuosity. The bells around the ankles make every movement audible, as if the body is revealing its hidden calculation. Kathak shows that sacred art can evolve without losing its memory. Hindu music treats sound as a path toward inner stillness. In many Hindu settings, music is not only decoration for worship. It can be a vehicle for attention, devotion, and inward refinement. A raga unfolds slowly, shaping mood through chosen notes and subtle movement. A bhajan invites the heart into remembrance. A curtain uses repetition to gather many voices into one current. What fascinates people is the idea that sound can change consciousness directly. You do not merely hear it. You are moved by it, organized by it, and sometimes quieted by it. Indian musical traditions often treat time, mood, and spiritual atmosphere with great seriousness. Certain melodies are associated with parts of the day or emotional flavors. Some people wonder whether ancient musicians understood sound as a hidden force long before modern language tried to explain it. The deeper point is immediate. A restless mind can be led without argument. Sound enters where concepts cannot. Music becomes a doorway into stillness. The syllable Om shaped spiritual practice across global cultures. Om began within Indian sacred traditions, yet its reach has become worldwide. It appears in yoga studios, meditation centers, music, art, tattoos, films, and spiritual communities far beyond South Asia. That global spread is fascinating because a sound rooted in ancient practice has become one of the most recognizable symbols of inner life. For some, it remains deeply sacred. For others, it has become a general sign of peace or self-exploration. This raises an important question about transmission. What happens when a sacred symbol travels far from its original context? It can inspire sincere practice, but it can also become simplified. Still, its endurance says something powerful. Human beings seem to recognize that sound can mark a threshold. To chant Om is to begin differently. It slows the breath and gathers attention. Even when misunderstood, it points back toward a remarkable idea. A single syllable can carry a civilization's search for ultimate reality. Modern yoga spread worldwide while carrying ancient philosophical roots. Modern yoga is now practiced in gyms, homes, studios, schools, and retreats across the world. Many people first encounter it through posture, strength, flexibility, or stress relief. Yet behind that modern form are older Hindu and yogic ideas about discipline, attention, liberation, breath, ethics, and the training of consciousness. This makes yoga's global journey both inspiring and complicated. It has adapted to new cultures, new bodies, and new expectations. At the same time, its deeper roots can be forgotten when it becomes only exercise. Some people find this tension fascinating because it shows how ancient knowledge changes when it travels. A practice can survive by transforming, but it can also lose meaning if stripped too far. The most interesting view may be to hold both truths together. Modern yoga is not identical to its ancient ancestors, yet it still carries echoes of a vast inner science. Every posture can become a reminder that the body is a doorway, not the destination. Hindu thought influenced Emerson, Thoreau, and later Western seekers. In the 19th century, Hindu texts began to shape the imagination of certain Western writers and thinkers. Emerson and Thoreau were among those drawn to Indian philosophy, especially the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. They found in these works a vision of the self, nature, and spiritual freedom that challenged narrow religious habits of their own culture. This influence helped feed transcendentalism, which valued inner experience and direct contact with deeper reality. The story is fascinating because it shows wisdom crossing oceans before the age of instant communication. A text composed in one sacred world could awaken questions in another. Later seekers, artists, psychologists, and spiritual movements continued this exchange. Some people see in it evidence that certain ideas refuse to stay local. The question of consciousness, the search for liberation, and the discipline of self-knowledge speak across borders. Hindu thought did not simply remain in India. It entered the modern global conversation about what a human being is. Gandhi drew strength from the Gita and disciplined non-violence. Gandhi's public life cannot be understood only through politics. His moral imagination was deeply shaped by Hindu texts, especially the Bhagavad Gita, along with Jain, Christian, and other influences. He read the Gita as a guide to selfless action, inner discipline, and detachment from personal reward. That mattered because his struggle was not merely against an empire. It was also against fear, hatred, and the temptation to become what one opposes. His practice of non-violence was not passive refusal. It required training, courage, sacrifice, and willingness to suffer without surrendering moral purpose. Some people find this fascinating because it shows an ancient teaching entering modern history with world-changing force. A battlefield dialogue became part of a movement that used conscience as power. Gandhi was not simple, and his life remains debated, but the connection is undeniable. Hindu wisdom helped shape a method of resistance that made moral force visible on the world stage. Hinduism's diversity allows debate to live beside devotion. One of the most remarkable things about Hinduism is that disagreement has not destroyed it. The tradition contains devotional worship, ritual practice, philosophical inquiry, renunciation, household religion, temple culture, local deities, and schools that argue fiercely about the nature of our all. Reality. Some say ultimate truth is non-dual. Others insist the soul and God remain distinct. Some emphasize knowledge. Others emphasize love, action, or disciplined practice. Yet these differences have often existed within a shared civilizational space. That makes Hinduism unusually difficult to reduce to a single formula. It is not confusion. It is plurality with memory. Some people find this deeply compelling because it resists the idea that truth must always appear as uniformity. A tradition can be serious and still contain debate. It can be devotional without being anti-intellectual. It can preserve ancient forms while allowing new movements to arise. Hinduism's diversity is not an accident on the surface. It is one of its deepest strengths. Its deepest invitation is to know reality by transforming life. After all the stories, rituals, philosophies, festivals, and practices, this may be the great thread running through Hinduism. Truth is not meant to remain an idea admired from a distance. It is meant to change how a person sees, acts, eats, speaks, breathes, worships, serves, and dies. That is what makes the tradition so powerful. It offers many doors because human beings are different, but each real door asks for transformation. Knowledge must become insight. Devotion must become surrender. Discipline must become freedom. Ethics must become character. Some people are drawn to Hinduism because it feels like a vast map of hidden possibilities. It does not only ask what the universe is, it asks what kind of person can know it. The final mystery is therefore not locked away in the sky. It is tested in daily life. The seeker becomes the experiment. The path becomes the proof. Reality is approached by becoming capable of seeing it. And so, we come to the end of this journey through Hinduism. We have moved through ancient hymns, sacred rivers, temple doors, cosmic cycles, and the inner questions that human beings have carried for thousands of years. We have seen a tradition that can speak through philosophy, story, song, ritual, silence, and daily life. It asks what the self truly is. It asks how action shapes the soul. It asks whether freedom is something we chase or something we uncover when the mind finally becomes still. We have met gods who protect balance, goddesses who carry power, sages who listened inwardly, and devotees who turned love into a path. We have seen how a lamp, a mantra, a meal, a river, or a single breath can become part of a much larger search for meaning. And now, there is nothing more you need to hold on to. Let the ideas settle gently in the back of the mind. Let the stories become distant shapes. Let the great wheel of time turn without needing your attention. Your work for the day is done. Your body can soften. Your breathing can slow. The world can keep moving for a while without you needing to guide it. If you enjoyed this journey, you are warmly invited to like, subscribe, or leave a thought below. It helps others find their way here too. And if you happen to still be awake, there is another sleepy wisdom journey waiting for you on the screen. For now, let your shoulders release. Let your eyes grow heavy. Let the mind loosen its grip on the day and allow yourself to drift toward rest. Sleep well and good night.